This cup represents the total amount of money you'll earn in your lifetime. And this is how much of it Muslims are quietly wasting on things we don't actually need. Now look, it's not the odd coffee or the cheeky dessert that's going to be the problem. There are some really significant unnecessary purchases and habits that keep our community financially stuck. And in this video, I'll share 13 of the biggest money wasters Muslims fall into and how you can avoid them so your wealth goes towards building your future and your family and your akhirah. I'm Ibrahim, and since 2016 I've helped millions of Muslims with their personal finances and their investing. I run an investment firm called Curate Capital. I've been lucky to have written a best-selling book and hold qualifications in Islamic law, investment management and corporate law. The number one thing I've seen Muslims waste their money on is cars. You know something's off when people are living in modest flats or council estates, but outside there's a brand new luxury car on finance. And let's be honest, it's mainly young men who fall into this trap. There's a real obsession with cars. Now, having a nice car isn't haram, and if you can comfortably afford it, go for it. But the problem is when you're stretching yourself just to look good on the road. A car is one of those fastest depreciating assets you will ever buy. Those £300 a month finance payments, over 3 years, you've wasted more than £10,000 compared to just buying a reliable used car outright. That's £10,000 that could have gone into a house deposit and your kids' education or your halal investment. Instead, it's gone into something that loses value the moment you drive it off the forecourt. So what should you do instead? Buy a good quality second-hand car that does the job without draining your income. And here's the smarter play. Put money into investments first and let that grow, and then use the returns to fund nicer cars later. That way, the car becomes a reward from your wealth, not the reason you never build any. I'll give you my personal example. This is a picture of my actual car, right? I talk about money and finance and investments and hanging out with millionaires and all this sort of thing. This is the car that I drive, and I'm not planning to change that anytime soon. So if you're going around driving a Porsche and you're much earlier in your career and your journey, then you have to ask yourself the question, what's going on here? The second thing I see Muslims waste their money on, and I see a lot of these, are lavish weddings. It's become the norm to see couples splashing out 20,000, 50,000, sometimes even 100,000 on their wedding, and then starting that married life saddled with a debt, and all because there's this huge social pressure to host a lavish celebration, thinking anything less than that means the day isn't memorable or worthy. This goes against the spirit of the Sunnah for a start, where the Prophet ﷺ, he reminded us that the best nikah is the simplest, and the blessing comes from keeping things easy and accessible, not excessive or showy. And then looking at the divorce rate, frankly, if you're looking at divorce rates of 50%, there's literally a 50% chance that that £100,000 is going to go up in smoke. And then the next time you get married, are you expected to do that again? I mean, you have to think about that as well, very, very pragmatically these days, because divorces are going up. So, Ibrahim, what's the smarter play, I hear you ask? Keep your wedding intimate, meaningful, and within your means. My own brother had a wonderful £3,000 wedding here in the UK, which you can check out in this video, which is proof that you don't have to break the bank. And we're not saying that you should spend just £3,000 on your wedding. I think that was a bit extreme even. The point is that everyone should spend within their means. And if you do have 50,000 to spend for your wedding, and if you're happy to do so, then do it. But for most people, this isn't the sensible thing to do. You would have to be extremely wealthy to be able to do that, and so live within your means. And then use all of that money that you save to pay debts for a house deposit and give the couple a head start instead of prioritizing one night over a lifetime together. The third way I see Muslims quietly draining their finances is splurging on designer clothes and accessories. Every year, countless people in the UK spend hundreds or even thousands just to keep up with fast fashion or high-end brands, often thinking it's a necessity. But honestly, quality basics from places like Primark or Uniqlo do the job just as well and can save you £500 to £1,000 a year. You want to treat yourself occasionally? Go to the outlet, shop for TK Maxx or whatever other luxury brands there are available, often selling at 60% off retail. Nailing down your wardrobe with affordable choices frees up money for your real goals, like saving for a house, investing, or securing your family's future. And by the way, it's not okay if you're going to be buying 10 things every single month with the thought that actually, you know what, I'm going to return 5 or 6 of those. The thing is, if you keep on doing that, you still have 10 things bought at any one time. So from a financial perspective, it's not actually that helpful. And here's a news flash. You don't need 5 new items every month. Your clothes aren't being worn out that quickly. And all that's going to happen is you're going to end up with a massive wardrobe. And then that's going to be a future headache to be able to clear all of that out and store it as well. So please keep an eye on all that stuff. Okay, this one really annoys me. I see too many shoppers picking the big name brands at Tesco, Sainsbury's or Waitrose without realizing they can get the same quality products cheaper by choosing the supermarket's own brand. And not just the supermarket's own brand, but the supermarket's own cheaper brand. Because the reality is, actually, a lot of the time, that product is exactly the same product, but with different packaging. Literally the same product. And they're doing it because they want to give you the option of basically giving them more money for a slightly different, more colorful package. For example, a pack of Weetabix 24s costs £3.50, but the Sainsbury's own brand wheat biscuits sell for just £1.80 for the same quantity and the size. That's almost half the price for similar quantity. And you know what? These guys often, they are white labeling and they're going to Weetabix and people like that who are producing the actual branded product and saying, guys, can you just do us a white label product? So it's literally the same product, guys, and you're paying more for it. So beyond switching to own brand products, consider where you shop. Stores like Aldi and Lidl often offer big savings across the board compared to the big 4 supermarkets. You might want to try using price comparison sites like trolley.co.uk or Latest Deals that can help you spot the best deals and decide if shopping at a discount supermarket could be the right thing for your family budget. The other thing that you can do for those who have more desi proclivities when it comes to their cooking is buy in bulk things like rice and things like butter or ghee, and you can get that from your local desi Asian store as well. So that's a really good way of buying in bulk. Now, I speak to thousands of Muslims every year, and you'd be surprised just how many people are paying for subscriptions which they no longer use. You might be paying £19 a month for Netflix, plus multiple apps charge £3 to £5 every month that you basically forget about, or that gym membership that costs £50 a month that you haven't set foot in for ages. It's so easy to lose track, but all of those small fees add up. So Mars over here was paying contents insurance for 2 years after she moved out of that flat that she was paying insurance on. The problem is subscription services often auto-renew and are tricky to cancel, trapping millions of people into paying for things they don't actually use. And recent studies show that UK consumers are wasting hundreds of pounds a year on these subscription traps, with many of them unaware of how much they're letting slip away. This isn't just wasted money, it's a lost opportunity on what you could be saving, donating, or investing with that. So what's the smarter move? It's nothing complicated, just take a few minutes to review your bank statements and list out all of the active subscriptions. Cancel those you don't use regularly. Even saving £100 a month can make a big difference. That's £1,200 in a year. It could be your next charity donation, or it could be something you put towards halal investing, or simply improving your household budget. So take control of your subscriptions and make your money work for you, not the other way around. At number 6, not comparing utility deals is a silent but costly mistake that many Muslims fall into. It's so easy to just stick with your old broadband, your energy or insurance provider out of convenience or loyalty. But the reality is many households in the UK lose hundreds of pounds each year by failing to shop around. Folks, loyalty simply doesn't pay in the utility world. You have to be cutthroat. British Gas is not your grandmother. You have to negotiate and look around. Mars here was paying £50 for 60 megabytes, assuming Sky was doing the best deal for her and looking after her interests. And the last time I checked, Rupert Murdoch is not the kind of man that you expect to be doing you a favor. And unfortunately, that was the case here. The way that it works, energy and broadband providers often hike prices once the introductory deals expire because they're banking on customers staying put rather than switching. And in many cases, understandably, that's what happens. So you should always shop around and never let deals auto-renew. And what you should do is actually, when you're setting up that deal, put in a calendar reminder for 2 years' time on that particular point so you never forget. So spend an hour on trusted comparison websites like Money Saving Expert, Uswitch or Quidco and actually compare deals tailored to your usage and your location for your utility bills. And you'll likely find offers that save you between £200 to £300 annually. Then set a yearly reminder to check that back because the best deals change often. Shopping around, not loyalty, keeps your bills low and frees up the money for your real financial goals. Now let's talk about community pressures or trying to uphold community expectations. There's this pressure to keep up with a lifestyle others display, especially for the gram. At number 7, one of the biggest ways Muslims waste money is by trying to keep up with the Joneses or even the Khans. You don't need to drive the same car as your neighbor. If you do that, you're going to be driving a Toyota Prius, by the way, if you live next to me. Book a luxury holiday because your friends just did that. You don't need to do that. Or completely overhauling your home whenever someone else does. This pressure to match other standards can really drain away your finances while distracting you from what really matters. We're not saying you shouldn't invest in making your home nice or enjoying the good things, but there are far more sensible and affordable ways to do that don't involve competing with others or feeling the stress of constantly leveling up. Focus on what actually suits your family, your needs, and your budget, not what others might post on social media. Instead of spending just to fit in, channel those savings into the things that build your future or even donate to charity. Guys, true satisfaction comes from living within your means and appreciating your own blessings and not chasing someone else's lifestyle. Plus, these days with AI and the filters that there are on Instagram, you can actually make your home look pretty good even as it is. So that's a top tip for you. I've just saved you £20,000 on a kitchen makeover. As the Prophet ﷺ said, look at those below you and don't look at those above you, lest you belittle the favors of Allah. Because what we have is actually more than 99.9% of people. Number 8 is another total waste of money, and that is excessive Eid spending. Buying whole new outfits and gifts every Eid isn't necessary. Instead, wear your best and not necessarily your newest. You don't even necessarily have to go out and buy new things. Reusing current clothing, creating personalized gifts, and simple, sweet gestures can be more effective than the latest shiny thing. For Ramadan and Eid decorations, reuse existing decorations or look for printable Ramadan decorations. Instead of buying decorations, you can spend quality time with family by making them come together. This will give them a more personalized feel, and combined all of this can actually end up saving you hundreds of pounds for Eid. And then that money you save could be invested and donated on behalf of your kids instead. One of the top tips I actually have for clothing and kids is that if you've got a large family, we've got a large family, the kids, they go through their clothes so fast. From 0 to about 7 years, those clothes can really be recycled. And so what we do is we literally have boxes of boys and girls clothes ranging from 0 months all the way up to about 5 years. And so whoever in the family is at that stage, we take that box and we pass it over to that person and then they use it. And so every year we are seeing the same clothes but on different people up and down the country when the family gets together. And that ends up saving thousands and thousands of pounds for our entire extended family. So if you've got a big family, definitely do that. And number 9, emotional spending for the kids is another massive way of wasting money. As a parent, I get it, right? We all want the best for our children. Sometimes it's just for the kids becomes how we justify spending more than we can afford on things that we perhaps might want. Think of those costly days out to treat the kids, such as the trips to the theme parks, the cinemas, the beach. And over the 6-week summer holidays, UK families may spend at least £1,000 just entertaining their children, with a single outing to a theme park costing more than £300 for a family of 4. These expenses quickly pile up and could put a real strain on the family budget. So why not set a monthly budget, even just £50 for treats, and then stick to it? It's better in the long run for both the kids and the parents, and you can try exploring some cheaper or even free alternatives, like swapping those pricey attractions for free museum visits or time in a local park or a nature reserve, which is completely free. Many museums and art galleries across the UK offer free entry or even special family events, so take those up. And honestly, kids are actually fairly easy to please. Most of all, they just want you to be present. Alright, when it comes to investing and financial mistakes, this really is our bread and butter. We speak to thousands of Muslims each year, and the truth is these issues pop up again and again. Getting it wrong can cost you a lot, or means you miss out on growing your money for your family and your future. So let's actually have a look at some of the biggest mistakes people make and how to avoid them. At number 10, many Muslims miss out on building wealth by avoiding investments altogether, often because of the fear of riba, interest, right? This is a big missed opportunity. There are plenty of halal, sharia-compliant investment options available in the UK alone these days that will allow you to grow your money in a way that aligns with your faith. We've done a ton of videos on this, and if you're a beginner, I highly recommend watching our complete breakdown on how to build a halal investment portfolio. That'll walk you through step by step what to choose and how to get started. The simple truth is, if you don't invest your money, it will just be consumed by inflation and also partly by zakat. So if you really want to preserve the value of the money you work so hard to earn, you need to spend some time learning about investing. And I know it can sound scary when you've never done it before, but there are investments out there for everyone, including some low risk ones that are hands off and can earn you money whilst you sleep. And we analyze 5 ways to do that exact thing in this video. And number 11, we've got high fees on investment products. When you don't need to pay them, it will eat into your returns. And every pound or dollar you spend on fees is a pound not invested and working for you. Look, we're not against fees here. Investment providers are doing a service and they need to get paid for that service that they're providing. I mean, we're an investment manager ourselves, right? And we know that. But as with everything, you need to shop around and make sure that you find the best deal for you. So take Forrester's Financial Stocks and Shares ISA, right? They're charging 1.5% annual management fee for the first 10 years for their junior ISA. Hargreaves Lansdowne, on the other hand, they don't charge any management fee on their JISA product if you manage it online. And you can easily just invest that in a sharia-compliant ETF and save yourself a bunch of those fees. Look, I know we as Muslims love property. We've got a love affair with it, seconded only by our flirting with gold, but it's becoming a bit clingy, guys. Here at IFG and Curate, we love property as well, right? But putting all of your eggs into that one basket means your finances are vulnerable if the property market dips, and it doesn't really grow as fast as the business economy. The key issue I have is liquidity as well, because you can't really get your money out very quickly with property, which is why there should always be some place in your investment portfolio for savings accounts or more liquid investments such as public equities or even gold or even notice income funds. And if you're unsure where to start, here's a great video of where we analyze how the richest Muslims construct their portfolio and diversify accordingly. The final one at number 13 on our list is an absolute killer: credit card debt. Many chase cashback or reward points like air miles and they think they're getting a great deal, only to end up owing thousands and paying hefty interest charges instead. The average UK household carries around £2,570 in credit card debt, with interest rates often exceeding 20%, making it one of the most expensive forms of debt out there. And the problem is that costs usually outweigh the benefits. The rewards are small compared to the huge interest you pay on balances left unpaid. This debt not only drains your finances, but also traps you in a cycle that's clearly prohibited in Islam. Carrying credit card debt means paying riba, which leads to financial and spiritual harm. And I've made a longer video explaining why I stopped using credit cards entirely, which you can watch if you're interested over here. So what should you do instead? Clear your credit card balances as quickly as possible and avoid accumulating new debt. Use interest-free current and savings accounts like the ones offered by Islamic banks instead. And there you have it, folks. 13 ways many of us end up wasting money. And more importantly, how we can all start taking real steps towards saving thousands of pounds and dollars and building for the future in a way that's true to our values. If you found value in this, do hit the like button. Please share this with your friends and family, and please do subscribe for more practical tips like this. I'd love to know which of these is the biggest challenge for you, or are there other ways that are a total waste of money that I've not even included here? Until next time, take care of your money, take care of your deen, and assalamu alaikum.